So they are
Okay.
ready.
So they are getting
Webinar has started.
yeah. Just let them get admitted to the right number. I see the number increasing. Okay, I think we'll start. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Federation of Freight Forwarder Association in India, I extend warm welcome to all participants joining today for this important webinar on the India-UK Free Trade Agreement, uh, opportunities and strategic insight for the logistics sector. This webinar marks the timely and significant discussions as the recently concluded India-UK FTA poised for opening a new avenues for trade, create fresh opportunities for the MSMEs, and reshape the dynamic of the bilateral cooperation. It is not just a trade agreement, it is a strategic bridge connecting the two vibrant economies and the democracies. I welcome for this seminar our President-elect Amit Kamath, our immediate past President Shankar Shinde, and Mr. Kasture. I request Amit Kamath, uh, President-elect, to deliver the welcome speech. Over to you, Amit.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Sant, and good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. And I am very glad and happy to see the participation in large numbers for this webinar. As you all are aware, it's the endeavor of the Federation to keep our members and the fraternity abreast of the developments and happenings of the new happenings in the logistics and EXIM trade. And the free trade agreement uh, between India and the United Kingdom is one such major step in this direction. And we therefore thought that we should have a webinar on this topic so our members are informed of what it means to us, to our country, what it means to us specifically as EXIM fraternity and service providers to the EXIM fraternity as logistic service providers. So without taking much of your time, I would just brief you about what it entails and the salient features of this free trade agreement. One is that there are major tariff reductions which will unlock export opportunities. UK will eliminate tariff on 99% of India's exports to the UK, making sectors like textiles, apparels, gems, jewelry, leather, machinery, auto parts, pharma, and other products more competitive. It will ensure substantial economic growth and trade expansion of our country with the UK. This agreement again aims at doubling our bilateral trade with the UK from US 60 billion now to US $120 billion by 2030, and even larger by 2040. It will boost India's key export sectors and MSMEs. This deal will give Indian exporters, especially textiles, sports goods, and toys, a competitive edge by making them more price competitive in the UK market. It will also enhance service mobility and digital trade. This FTA expands visa opportunities to professionals like chefs, yoga teachers, and classical musicians who can travel to the UK for up to 12 months under specific quota. This FTA is viewed as a benchmark for future trade agreements, signaling deeper economic integration and cooperation. India is set to attract bilateral investment from these growing trade-related activities out of this free trade agreement. So, members and colleagues, This is a very important step in direction of boosting India's exports and making us more competitive and increasing our trade with the United Kingdom. We have with us today uh, expert in international and foreign trade, Mr. Sudhakar Kasture, who is a well-renowned expert in this subject. And we are very thankful to him to have spared time for this webinar. Thank you, Dr. Sudhakar Kasture. Um, so I would now request Dr. Sun to take over from me again and let us start this webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Amit, for this crisp insight of FTA. Uh, Mr. Shankar Shinde, who is immediate past chairman of Triple FI, I request you to say a few words and give your perspective. Yeah, over to you, Shankarji.
Yeah, sorry. Good evening to all. Respected our guest today for the speaker, Mr. Sudhakar Kasturi, sir. Welcome to the webinar, and we are really thankful for your presence at this webinar today. And I would not only say importance, you are the authority on the topic also. So being from the industry perspective also and from the department perspective, I think so none other than you are the right person to have on this platform for this important topic. Going ahead, the India-UK Free Trade Agreement, opportunities and strategic insights for logistics sector. Now, when we talk about this logistics sector and the FTAs, we have always been under impression and perception that whenever it is a FTA, it is only with the trade who has got to do with the import and export, depending upon the trade barriers or maybe even if it comes to tariffs or the non-tariff actions. But I think so it is beyond that. And what is that we should look for? Because everything the trade moves is with the trade facilitation measures. And when it comes to trade facilitation measure, the most of the thing which would depend upon is the infrastructure, the facility, the ease of doing business, and how easily the market is accessible to all of us. And that brings the opportunity to our logistics sector. The India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, which you call a CETA or the FTA, concluded with this 2025, and which has substantially reduced tariff as what as our chairman-elect has also mentioned just recently. And the large share which we seek for the opportunity for the penetration of our market for the new product to enter into this market. And what are the scope for us as a logistics service provider, may it be a ports or shippings or freight forwarders, warehousing or cold chains or the custom brokers and including the 3PLs also. So the product flow becomes very important. So to create the strategic partnership and create that environment or create that ambience where it becomes ease flow of doing business. So what does it mean really for the logistics sector? One, the trade flow and the model demand, it is more new and the faster. Second, when it comes to port and hinterland pressure, it talks about the capacity building and the agility required under this. When it comes to third is the warehousing and the cold chain e-fulfillment. Then the fourth which comes is the customs rules and the rules of origin and the compliances. Fifth, when we talk about is one of the digital trade, which you would call as like a majorly into the paperless customs or the trade facilitation measures. Then we have the other sector, which is the services and the professional logistics, which talks about the 3PL, 4PL, and the other service providers. And then how it impacts the whole of the trade through the investments and M&A flows. So some of these strategic things which we look for are on these aspects. So all this, when we see the FTS coming forward, we see what is for the immediate change is required and how do we need to gear up. Then there can be some of the short terms and some of the mid terms and some of the long terms mediation which you require to plan and go ahead. So this is how we tend to have the whole of the system ecosystem being run in the whole of the FTA ecosystem. And I think so Mr. Kasture sir will always highlight as to how do we need to prepare ourselves to gear up to cope up with such type of situations. And to conclude it, I would just say that the India-UK FTA opens it a meaningful window for logistics players to capture higher volumes, offer premium services in cold chain, pharma handling, e-fulfillment, and building value-added compliance to digital products. The winner will be those who translate tariffs changes into the concrete service propositions, invest in compliance and cold chain readiness, integrate digitally with customs and trade finance ecosystem to shorten dwell times and lower landed cost. The official treaty tax and the tariff schedules would be made available, and which makes very ease of doing business. And when it comes to the implementation level of all this TFA, I think so the verifications and the implementation with regard to the digitally transfer of documents or vetting of documents with the MRS sign, I think so that is the most important aspect to make it a very seamless flow, because one country's acceptance to the other countries for the seamless without having that even verification doubt should go in hand gloves to have this ease of doing business, which brings very transparency in the whole of the system. So with this, I would just like to add on with the digital, which will play a very important role for transformation of documents with high reliable sources and getting the huge confidence within the trade. So thanks and wish you all the best, and look forward to hear Mr. Kasturi sir on this very important topic aspects. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Shankarji. So without going into further details, I think people are eager to hear Mr. Kasturi's presentation and speech. I have to introduce definitely formally. I mean, we know Kasture sir as a lead expert into the foreign trade policy, international trade, and the director of Exim Institute, from where I think couple of thousand students have passed and they are doing excellent in industry. So I think I don't want to really say everybody knows Mr. Kasture. He has given earlier also a couple of important lectures for Triple FI. I request Kasture sir to take over, and meanwhile I request people that if they have any question, please post them in Q&A section. Please post them in Q&A section, not in chat, and we will try to take all these questions at the end of the session. So over to you, Kasturi sir.
Good afternoon, friends. Thank you, Dr. Sant and other dignitaries. The topic is very, very interesting. And I would like to give you, in fact, I was guided by Dr. Sant as to what I should speak. In a way, I have taken up exactly his agenda in the same format, what he asked me to do. And I will try to give all important details that are practically required. So we'll start from analysis of exports. We'll go into major features and benefits of India-UK FTA, new compliance procedure, documentation and original rules, what differentiates this FTA from other bilateral trade, how Indian companies, MSMEs, can leverage the agreement, and key considerations for brokers and freight forwarders. That's the agenda that we are going to look at. Whatever questions you have, I will answer in last 10 minutes. And I hope you will like this. We'll do analysis little in a different way so that you will have a critical idea of how India should look at things. So if we look at our exports during 24-25, the total exports are 437.52 billion. My analysis is a little different. I have bifurcated them in 5 groups, chapter-wise. So $10 billion and above, first group, 9 chapters. $1 to $10 billion, 43 chapters. $0.5 to $1 billion, 16 chapters. 0.1 to 0.05, 15. And less than 0.1, that is less than 850 crores, 15 chapters. Now it's interesting to see only the first 2 account for 96% of our exports. First 9 chapters, chapter 27, petroleum, 85, 84, electrical and mechanical machineries, 71, gold, silver and diamond, 30, pharmaceuticals, 87, automobiles, 29, chemicals, 10, cereals, 73, iron and steel. Just 9 chapters account for 264 billion. Another 43 chapters account for 156 billion. So put together, almost 96% is covered. So a large number of chapters contribute only 4%. First point to note. Then, what is our exposure to countries? 9 countries, first 9 countries where our exports are more than 10 billion. We already have a FTA or we are negotiating a FTA. Whatever you can see in blue and green color will give you an idea. Green color, countries India already has FTA, and blue color where we are negotiating. And this statistics is also very interesting. More than 10 billions you export to 9 countries. 1 to 10 billion we export to 49 countries. 500 million to 1 billion we export to 26 countries. 100 million to 500 million we export to 46 countries. And you'll be very surprised to know 99 countries, our exports are less than 100 million per annum. In other words, these 99 countries have a great chance of growing. Our global footprint has to grow. And if you look at the chapters where we are not really represented, those chapters also have to be concentrated upon. Strategic policies have to be decided for them. Because if we concentrate only on the 9 chapters that we talk of, then probably all the big countries are contributors, competitors, everything that you can possibly say they have. But the more you go down, you'll have less competition. There is good promising future and we need to concentrate on them. So first lesson I would like you to take is this. Second lesson, if you look at just the color, you will find that many countries are already covered or under negotiation as far as FTAs are concerned. So FTAs are going to be a critical part of our future assignments. How many FTAs are there? Very small number, only 375 across the globe. They play an important role in global value chains. And these are voluntary arrangements. Not that everything coming from UK is duty free. Not that everything going to UK is duty free. It is arranged and agreed between 2 countries. Then there are 2 specific provisions. One is called Generalized System of Preferences, GSP. Developed countries offer this to developing countries on a non-reciprocal basis. So USA, Japan gives us this GSP benefit. EU gives us this GSP benefit. As far as USA is concerned, during the first regime of Mr. Trump, he has discontinued GSP benefit for US. At that time, our trade got impacted to the extent of $6 billion. The way developed countries offer us these benefits, non-reciprocal basis, we also offer to least developed countries what is commonly known as duty-free, quota-free. This is also need not be a reciprocal arrangement. We offer this to many countries. All these agreements are negotiated primarily for market access. What is market access? Country should allow imports. If my country say a particular item is prohibited, then whatever the other country can try, that item cannot enter India. And therefore, this point has to be understood. All FTAs primarily aim at market access. Again, there are 2 situations prior to 2000, after 2000. After 2000, new things have come into existence. First, a very serious change in technology. Second, high-speed communication. Third, geopolitical relationships. Fourth, integration into global value chains. So it has changed the way the world looks at trade as an aspect. And then current negotiations. Current negotiations are for goods, services, investments, intellectual property rights, sustainability related issues. N number of new things are coming into. And we can see this very clearly if you go through the text of the FTA. Negotiation process is serious. It takes years because, let me explain you in a very simple manner. All FTAs are primarily arranged marriages. They're not love marriages. In love marriage, it's very easy. Boy can say, I like this girl. Dad, listen to me. I have to marry her. Don't ask me further questions. In arranged marriage, mother, father, uncle, aunts, long relations, everybody has something to say. And unless both the sides agree on number of issues, marriage doesn't take place. Exactly same is the nature of FTA. Every country has its own national interest. Every country has its own perspectives. Every country has its own viewpoint. We have to sit together, agree, negotiate, and then settle. So this is something which normally goes for a long period. I know EU is going on for 7+ years. RCP, we decided for 6 years, then decided to came out of it in 2019. Number of challenges are being faced in every single issue. Let's understand 3 aspects. First is FTA, preferential trade arrangement. What is preferential trade arrangement? It is the beginning of trade. We offer concession, but on small number of items. That is called positive list. Major number of items, we don't offer concessions. And we never offer zero duty if it is a preferential trade arrangement. We offer concessional rate of duties. One example of this is Mercosur, a preferential trade arrangement with Mercosur, that is Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. The better version of this is FTA, where we deal with goods and we offer zero duty access. Not only zero duty access, we offer access on large number of items that are being traded. And therefore, in FTA, we have a negative list. On small items, we do not offer any concessions. That is called negative list. The third, we have not yet moved into it. It is called customs union. Customs union simply means we remove the custom barriers between two countries. European Union is a great example of this. If you want to export goods from Germany to Portugal, the German fellow has not to file any shipping bill. The Portuguese fellow has not to file any bill of entry, and goods move from Germany to Portugal without any kind of custom duty payment. That's the basic concept of FTA, basic concept of customs union that we must realize. Then there are better versions of FTA called the currently negotiated and earlier concentrated upon, that is current we call it CESA, and then we call it CEPA. CESA is cooperation and CEPA is partnership. Extended versions of FTAs. We have CEPA with Korea, we have CEPA with Japan, and they include number of other items. It is not only trade in goods, it is trade in services, intellectual property, technology, investments, and number of things put together. Then when concessions or duty exemptions are offered, they are always offered on the basis of HS codes. And for these HS codes, which HS codes will get tariff concessions in both the countries, there will be a tariff notification issue by both the countries. In our current India-UK, UK will issue tariff notification for Indian origin goods. India will issue tariff notification for UK origin goods. And these are examples. Notifications are already there for India, ASEAN, India, Japan, India, UAE, India, Australia. So these tariff notifications have to be studied. Second part comes how to look at these tariff notifications. Earlier it was very difficult. You have to read a lot. Now you have Indian Trade Portal, and the job of finding these details has become very, very easy. us look at what more negotiations we are currently undergoing. We are likely to negotiate with USA. We are likely to negotiate with EU. We are negotiating with India Gulf Cooperation Council, 6 countries, India SACO, 5 countries, India New Zealand, India Canada, India Israel, India CIS, another 8 countries. EU itself is 27 countries. So put together, if you look at this, in a year or two, we will have FTAs with more than 100 countries. That is why this becomes an extremely serious issue for every participant of international trade, whether you are exporter, you are importer, or you are service provider. Remember, FTA is going to be a complete part of your thought process. You cannot avoid that. And it is better to learn about them in depth. Let's look at the change in the way we think. India withdrew from RCP in 2019. Then we started looking at 2010 and 2020. We signed only 2 trade agreements, Japan and Malaysia. With South Korea, we signed in 2009, but it came into force in 2010 because both countries require approvals for this. In contrast, 5 major agreements were signed between 21 and 25, signaling a renewed focus. Which are these 5 agreements? India Mauritius, India UAE, India Australia, India European Free Trade Association, TEPA, and India UK. If you look at the 4 agreements which has already come into existence, just mark the dates. India Mauritius we signed on 22nd February 21. It became effective from 1st April. So it took hardly 2 months. India UAE 18 February 2022 to 1st May 2022, 3 months. India Australia April 22 to 29th December 22, approximately 9 months. India European Free Trade 10th March 2024 to 1st October 2025. Again, a very long period. India UK, we signed on 24th of July. So we expect another 3 months, 3 months to 6 months, depending on how the process, final approval process takes place, that much time it will take. Futuristically looking, there's one interesting thing that we all should note, and that interesting thing is 54 African countries have decided to create a customs union. In other words, duty will be completely eliminated when they trade between themselves, exactly like European Union, Germany and France, no custom duty applicable. Similarly, 54 countries of Africa, there won't be any customs duty applicable. As of January 2025, 48 countries have agreed to this. So only 6 countries are left. Once that goes through, the way trade facilitation agreement came into existence, this will also come into existence. We'll have to think about this because India is a respected country in African Union. We are considered to be a good partner compared to Western partners. We don't have political ambitions, and compared to China, we are more trustworthy. From all these angles, Africa will play a very important role, and it will be more by joint ventures that we export components, let's say to Kenya, assemble the product over there, supply to other 53 countries at zero duty. The way Japan has used Bangladesh for increasing their exports to European Union, we can also think of similar situations when it comes to Africa. So having understood, let's concentrate on India UK. Some typical points, because I would like to discuss more on certificate of origin and rules of origin, because that is what will ultimately decide whether we are going to get the duty concessions or not. So let's concentrate on this particular aspect. Trade deal aims at from 60 billion to 120 billion. This is goods and services put together. 99% of Indian goods will enter the UK market at zero import duty. We'll study this statement more in depth because this needs in-depth understanding. Key sectors benefiting: textile, clothing, leather, gems and jewelry, auto components, chemical and pharmaceuticals, furniture and sports goods, mechanical, electrical machineries, minerals. What will India gain from signing this double contribution convention agreement with the UK? According to the Commerce Ministry, Indian workers who are temporarily in the UK and their employers are exempted from paying social security contributions to the UK for 3 years. So that taxation avoidance will happen. This agreement will lead to savings of around 20% of salary, expected to benefit more than 60,000 employees in IT sector. The benefits to Indian companies and employees would exceed rupees 4,000 crores. Very interesting element. Good one. But again, when it comes to IT sector, I am forced to think about artificial intelligence. Will IT sector jobs will continue to increase? Even in India, we have seen TCS has removed 12,000 people. If company like TCS can do this, the companies in UK can also do this. We have to think about this carefully well, but currently we expect to get the benefit of 4,000 crores. We get zero duty access for 99% of Indian products. We'll examine this. Farmers and fishermen will have access to UK's agricultural and marine markets. Labor-intensive sectors expected to gain job creation, export competitiveness. However, one serious point to note, no CBAM included yet. Carbon border adjustment tax or adjustment mechanism, commonly known as carbon tax. Future discussions are planned on this issue. As far as EU is concerned, this tax is likely to be implemented from 1st January 2026. EU importers will ask Indians to take part into this, either pay partially, absorb, do something about it. So this is going to be a critical issue based on the carbon footprint of the product that is being exported. As far as EU is concerned, this mechanism is already set. They have the rates decided as to what is the carbon taxation applicable. And this entire process will start from 2026, likely to end by 2034, where all products get covered by then. So this one issue has to be examined and seen in subsequent years. India will reduce duties on UK luxury items like Scotch whisky and premium cars. Scotch whisky duty will come down from 150 to 75% on signing the agreement, and 5% annual reduction for next 10 years. So the people who drink, this is a good benefit for them. What I have been told, I don't drink, so I really don't know. But what I have been told, that after 3 pegs, you don't understand whether it is a foreign whiskey or it is Indian made foreign whiskey. So those who really want to drink mixing this, they have some relief in terms of money, because duty reduction is pretty large. Medical devices and aerospace parts, both are growing segments. We are going to definitely look forward to this because this is improvement in technology as well, and possibility of expanding our global footprint in aerospace. So this is also extremely welcome. People mobility in social security, chefs, yoga instructors, musicians will get work visas. 1,800 Indian professionals to begin with. This benefit is also available to similar kind of professionals in Indo-Japan agreement as well. You can explore that facility also. New Social Security Pact contributions from Indian workers in UK for 3 years. So 75,000 individuals will get benefited out of this, generically speaking. When will be the FTA implemented? It has to be approved by the UK Parliament. After approval, tariff and non-tariff notifications will be issued. Tariff notification talks of duty concessions. Non-tariff notification talks of rules of origin. So after complete signing, approval by both the governments, this will happen. Once these notifications are issued, the duty concessions will practically come into force. So it might be, my expectation is by Diwali 2025, this should happen. If not by Diwali, then by January 2025 for sure, this will work out. This has to be taken into account. So few understandings we must have. Financial conditions of the country, particularly foreign exchange reserves. The WTO norm says, if any country has foreign exchange reserves equivalent to 6 months of its requirement of imports, the country is considered trustworthy. Fortunately, we have good foreign exchange reserves as on date, almost 10-11 months of imports we can meet with our reserves. Please understand, if you have good reserves, nobody will fear giving you credit. If you have small reserves, people would like to deal with you, demanding advance. We have seen some very serious problems in neighboring country like Sri Lanka, when their reserves have dropped down almost close to $4 billion or so. Pakistan, permanent problem. So this is something, when you deal with a new country, look at this. Of course, you need not worry much about UK. But when you deal with other countries, you should look at this. You must have specific knowledge about commodity trends, demand and supply situations, and regulatory aspects. Most importantly, compulsory compliances. Third thing is critically important. In India also we are seeing this, but in UK, this is going to be, in Europe, this is going to be, even in USA, this is going to be, even in China, this is going to be a very big problem. And that problem comes out of climate change and sustainability. If you have been watching the news on BBC or on European television, you will find that temperatures in Spain, Portugal, is touching 44 degrees Celsius. There are wildfires. Naturally, it is going to disturb the economy. It is going to disturb the trade. That part has to be understood carefully. And going forward, everybody is going to look out for sustainable measures where carbon footprints are reduced. Not only that, you use clean energy in production. Not only that, your product should be decided or stamped as eco-friendly product. Then you have better possibility of expanding your global footprint. Then the fourth critical area, natural resources, mining, agriculture, global value chains, etc., that also impacts the trade. The most important aspect for any FTA is rules of origin. This must be understood critically then. I'll try to explain you in the most practical, in a simple manner, how to look at this. First, some concepts. FTAs offer duty concession on basic custom duty only, that is called MFN. These concessions could be either reduced duty, preferential treatment, or zero duty exemption. Now, there are two things that we must understand in the first place. What is MFN? In simple terms, it is common customs duty. Our basic custom duty is MFN. Why we call it most favored nation? Because when we signed WTO agreement in 1995, WTO said, those who are members of WTO, you should offer them a common duty treatment, and therefore the term MFN came into existence. There is another concept called bound rate. Bound rate means commitment of an individual country that they will not increase duty beyond this. Our commitment for industrial goods is between 30 to 40%. For agricultural goods, it is 30 to 100%. And for alcoholic beverages and cars, completely built cars, our commitment is more than 100%. In alcoholic beverages, we charge 150% duty. If we cross this limit, we charge higher duties. Then under WTO, if the other country is complaining, you will have to pay compensation because this is your own commitment. Of course, the current duties are far too less compared to this. And therefore, you need not worry about the bound rate concept. MFN, of course, yes, because the trend of the world is to reduce the custom duties. Now, these duty concessions are offered on the basis of certificate of origin, and there are two types. One is called wholly obtained. Wholly obtained means the country with which you are having an agreement. The raw materials are either from that country or from your own country. If the product is made by materials generated from these two countries, it can be called wholly obtained. In other words, if you are making a product which is of materials obtained from UK, obtained from India, then it will get considered as wholly obtained. If you are importing some material from Indonesia, China, Germany, France, partial material from UK, partial material from India, if this is the case, then it is partially produced. And the countries which are not members to the agreement, like for example, India, UK, India is one country, UK only two partners. So any material source for manufacturing from any other country other than these two countries will be considered as non-originating material. And when you make a product partially produced, you have number of conditions to comply with. What are these conditions? First condition is CC. In terminology, it is called CC. It means change in chapter. Just to give you an understanding, import of material under chapter 29, export of material under chapter 38. This is called CC because chapter itself is changing. Another terminology is CTH. You import material at 4-digit level 3806. You make a product 3808. This is chapter heading change. Then comes CTSH, change at 6-digit level. Import material is 380893. Export material is 380899. Please remember, 6-digit codes are universal codes. When you convert these partially produced goods, that means goods manufactured using different materials from different countries, you also have to abide by what is called RVC or regional value content. What is the value addition that you have done in your own country? Whatever agreements we have signed so far, value addition in India is expected to be between 30% to 40%, or most commonly 35% to 45%, depending on the agreement and the decisions that are taken by both the governments acceptable to each one. So these terminologies have to be remembered because when you go to a portal and want to find out, you will find this. Then there are three more things you need to look at. First, change in HS code. I already explained you. Definition of process of manufacture. That must be clearly defined. Your product must conform to the process of manufacture in India. Regional value content. What is the value addition done in India? Or if you are importing goods from UK, what is the value addition done in UK? And if you are signing an agreement with a group of countries like ASEAN, then cumulation. That means the value addition of 35% or 40% is not in one single country, but let's say it is carried out in Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore, put together. As long as you achieve 40%, the goods will get concessional duty in India. Then there are two concepts, exclusion list and sensitive list. Exclusion list is that list where both countries say we will not give any concession on these items. And sensitive list is that list where we'll say we'll give concessions, but we'll not give it at one go. We will give it in equal installments, annual installments. So my current 7.5% duty will become 0%, but in 5 installments. So next year it will become 6, then it will become 4.5, then it will become 3, then it will become 1.5, then it will become 0. This is to some extent accommodate the market, the domestic market. Both countries decide in similar fashion. So these concepts must be remembered when you think of importing goods under partially produced PP category. Just to give you an example, benzene. This is the actual screenshot taken from Indian Trade Portal. How to approach Indian Trade Portal, I will show you at the end. But just to understand this, 45% RVC, regional value content. That means 45% value addition has to be done in that country. We are talking of exporting to Korea. So what is the duty applicable? Most favored nation in Korea, 3%. Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, 0%. Asia Pacific Trade Agreement, 1.5%. So if I obtain a certificate of origin from my Export Inspection Council, which proves that 45% value addition is done in India, then my product in Korea will be accepted at 0 duty. United Arab Emirates, no preference, because the product itself is under 0 duty. Therefore,
Zoom webinar जो चालू असतो ना
sorry, I think somebody is talking. Please mute yourself.
Sir, you may continue.
UK, when it comes to UK, 0 duty. Then when you check on United States of America, no concessions granted. So from April 9 onwards, the applicable duty to you is 10%. This is possible to find out from Indian Trade Portal. Anybody can access. This is the portal run by Ministry of Commerce and FTA. So you can look into this. The same portal gives you other details: export policy of India, duty drawback rate, RODTP rate. So first point to note, this has become very simple for anyone to find out what is the duty applicable to your product in countries overseas when you are exporting the goods under FTA. One great simple solution in true sense, ease of doing business. Sitting here, in 2 minutes, you can find this out. I'll show you how to do this practically. How to obtain certificate of origin? You have to go to the specified government agency, Export Inspection Council. That is the agency which gives certificate for Indian origin goods. It is issued for wholly obtained or partially produced category, described as W or PP. When goods are partially produced, specific criteria must be met with respect to regional value content, change in HS code, process of manufacture, etc., etc. Format of certificate of origin is given in non-tariff notification that will be issued for UK. These are non-tariff notification to understand, just to give you an idea. Non-tariff notification talks about the format of certificate of origin and the conditions of certificate of origin. Tariff notification talks of HS codes and duty concessions. So these two must be clearly understood. This is the website. Now let us talk of UK, India-UK rules of origin. Official website I am giving you. This needs to be understood little more in depth. When it comes to wholly obtained, what is wholly obtained? Read the first para. Each party shall provide that for the purposes of subparagraph 1A and Article 3.2 origin criteria, the following goods shall be considered as wholly obtained or produced entirely in one or both of the parties entirely in one, that means 100% goods made by using Indian raw materials, Indian components, or both the parties. That means UK origin, India origin put together. Both ways, product can be called wholly obtained. What is wholly obtained? What are the material, etc.? That is given in all these paras A, B, C. You can read this subsequently D, E, F, G, H. So it describes what can be covered under wholly obtained. This gives you complete clarity on what is wholly obtained. Goods excluding metals, that is waste or scrap derived from consumption or production there. Waste or scrap derived from used goods collected there, provided that those goods are fit only for the recovery of raw materials. So if you have generated some product using waste or using scrap metal, that product will also qualify subject to these compliances for WO. Goods and their derivatives produced from exclusively from goods referred to in paragraph A to I. So whatever is described above, any derivative of that if you are using, that will automatically covered under wholly obtained criteria. Be careful about understanding this because your duty concessions are based on this. When product comes to partially produced, this is a new system that India has adopted in latest agreements. India, Australia, to give you an example. They use the word QVC, qualifying value content, which is equivalent to value addition or regional value content, RVC. Both things remains the same. Now read this carefully. Where Annex 3A, product specific rules of origin, specifies a qualifying value content, test to determine whether a good is originating, each party shall provide that the qualifying value content shall be calculated using one of the following methods. There are two methods. One is called build down method. Another is called build up method. What is build down method? Build down method works on value of the goods minus value of non-originating materials. Now understand this. Value of the goods, FOB, export value, say $100. Value of non-originating material. Material is not coming from UK. Material is not coming from India. Material is coming from Indonesia. And the value of that material is $60. So qualifying value content will be 100 minus 60 divided by value of the goods 100, whatever that comes into 100. This QVC percentage is not yet decided. This will be decided based on approval of the parliaments. But whatever was earlier decided in other agreements, this could be between 35 to 40%. In other words, if I'm importing material from Indonesia, $60 CIF, and I'm exporting a product to UK for $100 FOB, it will qualify for $40 content, qualifying value content. This is how build down method is applicable. What about build up method? Value of originating material divided by value of goods. You value of originating material means material originating in India and the material which you have purchased locally, which is of Indian origin. You surely know it is of Indian origin. If the material you purchased is imported by someone else, you bought it from some merchant, then that value will be non-originating material value. It cannot be called originating material value. Second point has to be remembered. Based on whatever we have recently discussed or recently accepted in various agreements, this could be anywhere between 35 to 40%. Built up or built down, depending on what is suitable to you, what details you have available with you. Based on that, you work this out, and that is how it will be accepted. Now, for non-originating material, the document you require is bill of entry. If you purchase goods from a Merchant, then copy of the bill of entry to prove. And for local materials, you can always give invoices on which GST has been paid. So you'll automatically able to prove what is the value that is covered under that. And based on that, you can work this out. The percentage once decided, you'll be able to understand what you can and how you can give this. If the product is wholly obtained, for the goods is nothing originating if. Now this is, understand this carefully. In case of goods in chapters 25 through 98 of the harmonized system, the value of those non-originating materials does not exceed 12.5. In other words, if there is a product which is wholly obtained, but covered under product specific rules of origin, then 12.5% material of other origin is also accepted. In other words, if 87.5% material is of Indian origin, you can call it wholly obtained, provided product specific rules of origin Annex Year 3A is considered. So this is another relaxation granted, and you have to remember that value of non-originating material for any applicable qualifying value content requirement has to be complied with. This is tolerance for wholly obtained material. Now, when wholly obtained material comes into picture and in which you can have small element of non-originating material. For example, you have fabric purchased in India, but you have buttons and collar stays imported from abroad. Naturally, the value will not be very high. Value will be small. In such circumstances, majority comes from Indian origin material and it specifies as wholly obtained. This tolerance is available to you. Proof of origin, very interesting. For importers in United Kingdom, an applicable proof of origin will be an origin declaration completed by the exporter or producer, a certificate of origin issued by an issuing authority, or the importer's knowledge that the goods is originating. And for importers in India, an applicable proof of origin shall be an origin declaration completed by the exporter or the producer. So there are two issues. One is origin declaration given by the exporter. Now, why the word producer is used? Because manufacturer may be different, exporter may be different. So producer should certify which materials have been used. Why is the word declaration used? Because tomorrow, this will be e-certification. Day after tomorrow, certificate of origin may not be insisted upon. Purely declaration is available, good enough. For example, even today, when you export goods to EU, covered by EU GSP system, you only give a declaration. That declaration is covered on the invoice and that invoice is accepted. There is no need of obtaining preferential certificate of origin from Export Inspection Council. These provisions have been incorporated in proof of origin. This point has to be carefully noted. Each party shall provide origin declaration or a certificate of origin. Currently, both are operative. Is valid for 12 months from the date of completion in the case of origin declaration, or date of issue in the case of certificate of origin, or for such longer period specified by the laws and regulations of the importing party. This clause also have to be understood carefully. So whenever the final tariff notification and non-tariff notification gets issued, check this clause because it talks of date of completion in the case of origin declaration. Why? That I'll explain you a little later. Is submitted to the customs authority, no problem. Shall follow the appropriate prescribed structure as set out in Annex 3B, that is template, that is format, or Annex 3, again certificate of origin format, declaration format and origin format. Must be in writing, including electronic format. It could be in writing or it could be in electronic format. Must be accompanied by an invoice or any other commercial document. that describes the goods concerned in sufficient detail to enable them to be identified, may apply to importations of a single shipment or one or more goods, and shall be in English language. One very interesting provision that I see in rules of origin is this. For the United Kingdom, an origin declaration or a certificate of origin may apply to importations of multiple shipments of identical goods within any specified period in the origin declaration or the certificate of origin where such period does not exceed 12 months. In other words, multiple shipments of identical goods can be covered by one declaration which is valid for a period of 12 months. This point is critically important because when you look at Carota, we have n number of questions being raised on the validity of certificate of origin. Here it says a declaration or a certificate of origin based on whatever finally agreed upon. It will be applicable for identical goods for a period which does not exceed 12 months. What is identical goods? You must refer Valuation Rules Notification 94/2007 to understand what is the meaning of identical goods. Because when this kind of provisions are made, you must understand that you have to comply with the regulations applicable for that. Article 3.17. A certificate of origin shall be issued by an issuing authority. India shall exchange names of the issuing authorities. India shall promptly inform the UK government of any change in names of issuing authorities and their specimen seals. My suggestion to FFAI, you should immediately request for conversion this into digitally signed certificate. Certificate given with digital signature. So specimen seal, specimen things, authentication of that will be completely solved at one go. Article 3.19, determination of claims for preferential tariff treatment. What is most important? The importing party may deny a claim for preferential treatment if it determines that the goods does not qualify as originating within the terms of this chapter or does not satisfy the requirements of this chapter. Pursuant to verification under Article 3.25, verification of origin, it has not received sufficient information, including any information that may have been received or provided by the competent authority, that the goods qualifies as originating, or that the importer, exporter, or producer has complied with the requirements of this chapter. The exporter, producer, or importer fails to respond to a written request for information in accordance with Article 3.25, verification of origin. If the importer, exporter, or producer fails to comply with the relevant requirements of obtaining preferential tariff treatment. In other words, whatever has been amended as proof of origin has to be followed by the Indian exporter. Understand this very clearly. Recently, there has been discussion on proof of origin, not certificate of origin, but proof of origin. An exporter must possess this knowledge. This has to be kept in mind. One very interesting provision that has been made, and I would like your attention for this particular provision. If the importing party denies a claim for preferential tariff treatment, let's say UK, it shall issue a determination to the importer that includes the reasons for the determination. The custom authority of the importing party may also share the determination and reasons for the determination with the customs authority of the exporting party. So it gives very clear system as to how information will be communicated to both the customs. Then one very interesting provision, that is refund and claims for preferential treatment after importation. This is a critical issue in India. If for any reason I have to pay full duty, will I get preferential duty difference? Can I claim it as refund? This agreement includes that. This agreement says an importer may make a late claim for preferential tariff. Subject to paragraph 2, it shall refund any excess duty paid for the good if the importer did not make a claim for preferential tariff treatment at the time of importation, provided that the goods would have qualified for preferential tariff treatment at the time of importation. You don't have documents, something has happened, whatever may be the reason. You could not claim the preferential duty at the time of clearance of goods. Now, no importer can hold the goods in custom because of damages, detention charges, etc., etc. He would like to clear. One option given to him, pay the duty and clear. So pay full duty and clear. Okay, he cleared the goods. He was qualifying, but he did not have some documents, whatever XYZ reasons, that he could not submit and cannot claim at the time of filing of bill of entry originally. As a condition for refund of excess duties, the importing party shall require that the importer makes a claim of preferential duty treatment in accordance with Article 3.15, provides such documentation relating to the importation of the goods as the importing party may require. This may include a copy of origin declaration where a claim is based on an origin declaration. Each party shall provide that a late claim for a preferential tariff treatment may be made no later than 1 year after the date of importation or a longer period if specified in the importing party's laws and regulations. In other words, you have paid full duty, you are entitled to the preferential treatment, you can file a refund claim within 12 months. Or if UK say, or India say that you can file it beyond 12 months, that will also be possible. Original agreement signed by India so far agrees to this. Further details will come out, but at present 12 months you can take it for granted. So there is possibility of claiming refund of 12 months. Other important articles: value of the goods, non-qualifying operations, basis of a claim for preferential treatment, exemptions from proof of origin requirements, penalties, record keeping requirements. These are detailed studies. Please go through. Now, one more thing I would like to tell you from this. This particular provision indirectly says that the provisions of Carotar have been included in India-EU agreement. Because certificate of origin, declaration, proof of origin, everything comes out of Carotar 20. The refund provision is something new. In this case, refund will not be governed by different laws, but it will automatically govern if this is incorporated in the agreement. I would like all of you to study this carefully well. That is why I have given explanation on this and I have included this in depth. Other conditions you can refer from these articles. What differentiates the India-EU other bilateral trade agreements? First, it includes number of new things. Digital trade, mobility, geographical indications, sustainable procurement, cooperation-led dispute settlement. This is something that we have to understand. Second, Carotar rules have been taken into account. They are reflecting in this with some positive things: origin declaration, validity of 12 months, plus refund claims permitted up to 12 months, even after when goods are cleared. It ensures proper documentation to claim duty benefits, also accounts for situations where importers pay full duty instead of claiming lower preferential duty, offering guidance for refunds. These three categories have to be specifically noted. How to increase exports using FTAs? Some indications. I tried to work this out. Easiest and most simple way, go to the TradeStat Commerce portal, find out top 10 countries, select any 5 countries, In top 10 countries, Indian product is already accepted. So you don't have very great difficulty in making your product acceptable to them. And most importantly, study pestle analysis. Do pestle analysis. Pest analysis, everybody knows potential, political, economical, socio-cultural, and technological factors. Environment and legal factors also have to be studied. That is the need of the hour. Study cultural factors carefully. Understand literature, sports, language. You can ask me why. Why is this needed? Why should I know about sports? Why should I know about literature? Think of a situation, human situation. Your buyer invites you for a dinner and you are supposed to spend 1 hour with him. My question is, what will you discuss? In 1 hour, can you keep on saying my product is very good, my quality is very good, my price is very competitive? Again, repeat, my product is very good, my quality is very nice, my price is competitive. This is not accepted. When you discuss with someone, you discuss what each of us like. You go to South America. Would you like to talk about Virat Kohli? They don't know. You have to talk about Messi. You have to talk about Ronaldo. You have to talk. That is what they like. So we must have some understanding of literature, sports, language, critically important. Greetings. You learn. Few things you learn where it connects you. These are human connectivities. Trade is ultimately human connectivity. Elephants don't choose, I want Sony television. No, it is human being who chooses. Therefore, connectivity with human beings is equally important. You can carry all the other benefits provided you have this. So please study this carefully well. Put your understanding into this. Spend some time onto this. I know there are websites in America which tell you that if you want to visit, if somebody in India invites you for a dinner, you should ask him, shoes should be removed outside the house or inside the house, shoes are allowed. Even this is being taught because that is respect given in culture in India. We also have to do these kind of things. These learnings are critically important. Environmental factors, you must understand what is carbon tax, what is emission, shift towards renewable energy, weather and climate conditions, biodiversity and conservation efforts. These are critical aspects of 21st century, must be understood, no options. Legal factors, tariff and non-tariff barriers. Most of us have these words, but we don't understand what they are. Tariff barriers are charges imposed upon imports. So they are a form of import taxation. Non-tariff barriers are entry barriers. They don't allow goods to enter. How one should understand this? And all these factors ultimately increase the landed cost. These are new elements to landed costs. Eco-design for sustainable products regulation, carbon border adjustment measures, deforestation regulations, supply chain regulations. These are dates of implementations, particularly for European continent, though after Brexit, UK is different, but UK still continues to be in European continent geographically. Most of the requirements are common. This must be studied carefully well. When it comes to tariff barriers, anti-dumping duty, safeguard duty, countervailing duty, you must study. When it comes to non-tariff barriers, you must study licensing, quantitative restrictions or QR, which is commonly known as quota, and technical standards. Think of this other way around. A person from UK wants to export to India. The first problem that he is going to face is BIS standard applicable? And then product wise, and then he has to check which department I should go. Who will tell me exactly? Are you really equipped with this? I don't understand this because these are all questions. The way he has question, you will also have question. That must also be understood simultaneously. Key consideration for MSMEs, accurate documentation, rules of origin compliance, understanding product specific rules, value addition thresholds, Carota 2020, refund mechanism, if you end up paying higher duty, how to get it back, digital documentation and single window use, whether you like it or not, this is bound to happen and very quickly. So digitized documentation process, electronic certificates of origin, single window clearance systems, classification and valuation vigilance, penalties and denials of benefits, on what grounds this is done, sector specific sensitivities that must also be studied. Who are your competitors? Regulatory alignment, you have to align with UK technical standards, SPS, TPT measures. They have to align with your standards, BIS particularly. Capacity building, regular training and updates, critically important. There are funny things happening in India. You know, I'm not blaming any community. I'm not against any community, against any service provider. But then our trust in the other fellow is something very interesting. Okay, anything related to custom, my CHA knows. But CHA also wants some details from you which you should know. That also has to be learned, has to be studied. So regular training and updates, critically important. Trade facilitation measures, mutual recognition of AOs. Triple FAI should insist on signing more and more mutual recognition agreements with number of countries. That should be agenda for them, I may like to suggest. Coordination with clients, documentation, compliances, benefit eligibility, everything has to be communicated also. It's not enough that I should know if my customer, if he's a valued customer for me in true sense, I must educate him, I must try to help him, I must try to solve his difficulties. Some latest news. Government invites proposals for e-commerce export hubs. These hubs aim to aid SMEs, artisans. This is very latest news, 6th of August. Reducing logistic costs, delivery times, streamlining regulatory frameworks, simplifying return processes. DGFT has proposed 5 pilot hubs. So you can expand your business in those areas. Revise courier exports value limit to 10 lakhs. Small exporters can benefit out of this. Then Dakghar Niryat Kendras, export through post is also a very good initiative because you need not come to a port city for this particular purpose. From the district itself, goods can be exported. Export data processing and monitoring system. RBI has issued these draft circulars. They needs to be studied. Some practical examples. These are top commodities exported to UK. Our value top commodities, top 10 commodities chapter wise is 8.26 billion. In 24-25, 9.76. Total exports 14.55 billion. So you can imagine if we are talking of 60 billion to 120 billion, then currently it is 14.55 billion in goods. Rest everything is in services or any other methodology. I'll give you an example how to study this. Now think of other articles of plastic, very common product, 392690 HS code. MFN rate is common duty applicable. Preferential treatment, we have preferential arrangement with UAE, preferential arrangement with UK, preferential arrangement with Japan. But we should not forget, the way EU has GSP, UK also has DCTS. Even if the agreement has not come into existence, even today, if you want to export article of plastics, you get zero duty treatment in UK. So let me give you a brief about this. Under the DCTS, a total of 7,408 HS codes are covered under 8-digit. Of this, 4,782 codes already enjoyed zero duty. while the remaining 2626 codes, 35%, face duties ranging from 2% to 14%. Therefore, the real benefit of India-UK CETA will be felt primarily across these 2,626 tariff lines, where duty elimination will make a tangible difference. You must also study because this scheme is in existence, available so far as per available on the UK's website. The DCTS is available for Indian origin goods up to 31st December 2025, and into bracket they have written may be extended further. So this continues even today. The real benefit comes to these 2,626 codes. This is the link. You can check specific conditions. There they are talking of 50% value addition. Chapters heading at 2 or 4 digit level. Again, the link is given. You can check this. Now, how to check on Indian Trade Portal? Very simple. I purposely made it so that everybody should understand. It will take only a minute. Go to Indian Trade Portal. Only look at the green columns. The green column on the right says enter HS code of your product at 2 digit, 4 digit or 6 digit level. 2. Click on export to check details on export from India. There are 2 columns, export or import. Both you can check. But currently we are checking about select. Select export to check details on export from India. We have selected 292690 6 digit level. Select export product at 8 digit level. So 29269099. Others, whatever is the category that is covered under this. This is step number 3. Select countries you are exporting to. You can select 5 countries at one go. So Brazil, Germany, whatever marks you can see, you can check. Step 5, export related information. For further details, click here. And you will get not only the preferential treatment, the value addition process, etc., etc. You'll also get export policy, duty drawback, RODTP scheme, GST and other levies, everything at one go. Duty drawback, emission, everything at one go available. All this will take roughly 2 minutes. So please don't say I can't find this. If you are a custom broker, if you are telling that I can't tell my fellow what is not available, no, I will not accept that. You should be able to tell the exporter, yes, this is available, this is what you can check. And this is what you can also check if you are a broker. So in conclusion, simple, we have to study landed cost. Most of our exporters are happy with CIF. No. Study landed cost. That is what will ultimately decide whether you will be able to reach the target or not. We have a target of 2,000 billion, 1,000 billion in services, 1,000 billion in goods. Our current status 437 billion. So we require at least 20% growth per annum. We have to work out for that. Look out for those countries where our export global footprint is very, very small. I have given you the list of those countries. So please study them carefully. Try to expand, and it is always possible. Now, one slide I have added to gratitude. Very interesting one. This is related to freight forwarders and custom brokers. So first it says, call karo, liner unavailable. Mail bhejo, no reply. Vessel expected date of departure, पता करके बताते हैं. Boss, update चाहिए in 5 minutes. Still shipment जाता है. क्यों जाता है? Because behind every smooth export there is one guy running like Shah Rukh Khan in DDLJ at the end of cutoff time. Salute to all export coordinators. We don't work 9 to 6. We work till expected time of departure. This is I found this out from internet. The picture courtesy is Rahul Sonar. Original post is by Hitesh Aswan. And it's my habit to give a thought at every lecture that I give. So thought today is this. If you can't change a situation, change your perception of it. Remember, most of your stress comes from the way you respond, not the way life is. I am a great fan of Zen Buddhism. All my quotes come from Buddhism, and therefore, this is the thought I felt this is very appropriate for today's subject. I am very thankful to Triple FAI for giving me this opportunity, and I hope you will be able to use this for. I am prepared to share this with you, no problem at all. Please use it in a positive sense. Make sure that everybody associated in international trade gets benefited out of it. And we should purely look at the aim that we would like to have $2,000 billion by 2030, and we should try wholeheartedly. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
will stop sharing.
Yeah.
And
Thank
if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
So I request Dr. Nirav Thakkar. There are few questions. Actually, the presentation is so crisp, clear. So I think people will definitely would have got, but still there are few questions. So I request Dr. Nirav Thakkar to take the Q&A.
Thank you, Dr. Sun. And thank you once again, Sudhakarji. What a wonderful presentation and explanation. And indeed, as Sun sir has mentioned, we have hardly any few questions as of now. But yes, I mean, we will take them up, and I'm sure you will be helping us in the specific responses as well.
Sure.
Sir, one of the questions we have received is how will the automobile sector in relation to the export and import of, with this FTA would benefit? So between both the countries, what do you feel about the automobile sector? How will it benefit?
See, finished cars exports, I doubt. I don't think much will help. But yes, component exports will get benefited.
Right.
It all depends on how the situation takes a turn. Nobody can predict. You think of one small thing. How many products will be changed because of robotics? If robotics gets into manufacturing, then am I dependent on a single country to do this, or I can put robotics in any country where I wish?
Absolutely.
So, unpredictable. But currently, yes, another 3-4 years you can definitely look into.
Thank you. Sir, we have one more question about they're asking between the India-UK FTA, does it include a de minimis rule?
De minimis rule, yes, I told you. 12.5% it includes.
It already includes. So another question, sir, is about people wanted to know, maybe, of course, I mean, you can just throw some light on this. FTA basically agreement which was already announced. Now, any idea about the notification? Of course, that's something that the government will plan to come up with in the near future.
Maybe by Diwali.
By Diwali. Okay.
Because Parliament has to approve. Now let me ask you a question. Can you guarantee what will get passed in my Parliament?
Not
What date it will get passed?
Correct.
Same thing there also.
Totally agree, sir. Another question when Mr. Kuldeep has raised, sir, that if party A has produced the goods and party B purchased, processed, and exported the same, who needs to submit the declaration with respect to the origin of goods, whether they are wholly or partially produced?
Party B.
Party B. Very clear on this.
Exporter has to give. Simple. Who is the exporter? Whether he is merchant or manufacturer, doesn't matter.
Perfect, sir. Another question just come up. Like other FTAs, So Pradeep Das is saying, like other FTA, there should not be more than 3 days gap between the BL date and the FTA date, or there should be an issue of retroactive stamp there. Is there any such provision involved here as well?
See, very simple. Let me tell you, ultimately it will be governed by e-certificate available immediately. Not even e-certificate, it will go purely by a declaration.
By declaration. Wonderful.
And the system is already there.
Right.
DCTS, what I was talking about, you just check
Yes.
the rules on DCTS. Your invoice declaration is good enough. They don't require a certificate of origin. Now, how much time you take from the receipt of bill of lading to make the invoice? In fact, if you are a pure Indian mentality, you would like to make it yesterday.
Yes.
Because that is one document on which you are going to claim money.
Come on. Right.
So why there will be delay of 3 days? It won't be.
It won't be.
And if document is electronic, why it will even take that much time? See, again, Lok Sabha has already, that e-bill of lading is already, bill has been passed.
Yes.
So it's a
Correct, sir.
question of time only, that's all. By the
Very-
time this comes into existence, that will be taken care of.
Taken care of. Thank you, sir. I think, see, rest of the questions which were there were about you sharing the presentation, which you have already confirmed. And, most of us were all just asking about the notification number, which also you have given a clear indication. Sir, from the question answer point of view, this was it. I think from the panelists, if anyone wants to take forward, Dr. Sun.
Yeah.
So I was curious about one thing, sir, if I may. So may I?
Yeah. Yes.
So with this 50% by the Americans, do you think this FTA will kind of replenish part of the exports which might come down?
I hold a trump card. Carefully listen to me. I hold a trump card, but I am not Mr. Trump. And the greatest speciality of Mr. Trump is no one is sure what he will speak next moment. So we can't answer anything on this. First of all, this 50% tariff would be applicable or not itself is a big question. Because it is applicable after 20 days. On 24th of August, there is a delegation coming. Some discussions will go on. On 25th evening, 26th morning, I can say it has been postponed by another 1 year. After that, we'll see what is to be done. So there is no answer to this at all. But other way around, if you look at rest of the world is looking forward. There are two terms which are coming up in international trade today. One is called friendshoring and second is called nearshoring. What is friendshoring? You are buying from a country which is friendly. And what is nearshoring? You are procuring the goods from a lesser distance. If I want to procure goods from Bangladesh or from Sri Lanka, that is nearshoring. And if I want to buy goods from a friend of mine, maybe Indonesia, maybe any other country, then it is friendshoring. So there is always a scope for bilateral trade agreements. And most of these trade agreements will be executed. Can you imagine a country like India, which was reluctant for many years, always believed that my trade agreements benefit others, not me. All that process was going on. Suddenly, our interest is so large that we are going to have trade agreements, in my opinion. If African continent, one agreement is included, it is 135 countries. And this will happen maximum in 2 years. I'm sure of this. Because you look at the list, 27 countries of EU, then 8 countries of CIS, 6 of GCC, and then already existing ASEAN 10, FTA 8 countries. Calculate, automatically you will get the number of that much. Then you add 54 countries at one go. Most of our trade partners will be, we are negotiating with South America. So PTA will get converted into FTA. Bound to happen.
Interesting clarification and future. Yeah. So at outset, I really wanted to thank you, Kasturiji. And but of course, we have Sudip Day, Honorary Secretary for Triple FI. I request Sudipji to give a vote of thanks.
So before
Hey,
that,
but Sudip,
Santosh sir, I think you
Sudip,
say something.
yeah, before that, Kasturi, sir, if you would allow me to ask one thing.
Yeah.
With regard to this, after signing of all these FTAs, we having MRAs and all, in spite of getting all these transfers and digital certificates also in some of the countries and online defacing, but still we are subjected to verification, which becomes a challenge for the trade, which makes it provisional assessment, and then again the hardship of going back, and then there is no verification system which is adhered to within 6 months or so. So how do we tackle this and how do we address this matter? Because it's been a long time we have been continuously addressing, and our our members have been facing hardship in getting it cleared. So this is one of the sector where we really would like to have some insight, like whether we can challenge at a time of clearance without the provisional, get released final, and then you do post verification or something of that stuff.
That's always possible, provided one simple step is taken by the government. And that step is called SOP, Standard Operating Procedures. You want to verify this, this is the time limit. Within 3 days, you get me the answer. Something of this sort, government has to initiate. You know what is our problem? We make wonderful policies. Implementation is the problem. When it comes to implementation, a small query is not replied. What
Very
we
true.
want is process. It should be given to artificial intelligence, if you ask me honestly. There should not be a manual interference, your problems will be solved. Give them the standard features. This is how it is, this is how it is. I can give you one example. Banks in European Union use blockchain. And this is for finance purpose. So what it says, you decide the fields. Keep on tick marking. Exporter has to comply with these fields. Importer has to comply with this field. Artificial intelligence says that this is perfectly matching with each other. Release the money. So money gets deposited. You Friday morning, you submit the paper to the bank. Friday evening, money is deposited into your account. Nobody complains. Let me give you one example to explain this to the authorities concerned. Once upon a time, share market sells. You selling shares through a broker. It used to take 1 month. With Demat account, how much it takes? Okay, do you ever go to check who has paid you money?
Every
If the
instant,
buyer
real time.
buyer of the share market worries about whether certificate is original or not original, duplicate, fraud or copy.
Not even seen.
So we already have a system in place. Same system has to be implemented here. That's it. It's the wish that one wants to implement.
I agree completely. Willingness should be there. Everything is solution will be there. Anyway, thanks. Great explanation. And with the way it is required for our industry, the explanation has come forward for understanding in very simplistic manner and the simplistic words. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
May I put one question? Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Sudhir bhai, would you like to have any inputs? Sudhir bhai.
Thank you, Sudeep bhai. So I was hearing matlab, though my window was, I was doing some work also, but I was continuously listening, and Kasturiji made me, put up my work which was there. I kept aside all the papers and I was listening to him. So one feedback I can give you is a very good, teacher. Like the way he explains things, and there is a fun question also in it. So and the way with ease he has explained each and everything, I think we are grateful that a teacher like him is there, who is teaching our students in IAFF also. And today we also had such a wonderful session, and I look forward to more engagement with him. As far as our different topics are concerned, he can, do a very good job. And I think his presentation will be very useful. The way he explained about this Indian trade portal was also an eye opener. I personally never knew about it. So thankful to Sudhakarji for such a wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr.
Please.
Nirav, you were having one question.
Yes, just I will take a couple of minutes, Sudhakar ji. This is just a a question in my mind about, sir, with so there are two questions. I'll put it short in brief. So when we are seeing so many FTAs which are being signed by India, and then we also see that there is a WTO as an organization which is already having the MFN and taking care of the discrimination between the countries, trying to have a full set organization trying to settle disputes in terms. Isn't it that the importance of WTO eventually is reducing and will be further reduced with so many FTAs directly being signed and having more benefits? That was one part. Second part was, sir, like how we have the India Korea and the India Japan, which were similar FTAs which have been signed much earlier, and now almost like last 15 years have passed. Is there any update which is required, because these kind of countries we are seeing a lot more trade happening, but there are no changes in terms of these FTAs. So just wanted your purview on these points, sir.
See, WTO must continue, my personal opinion, because it gives voice to developing countries and least developed countries. That should never be taken up. My sovereignty matters to me irrespective of my size, irrespective of my economy. It means to me, I have to be independent, I have to be independent. But FTAs are included in the basic structure of WTO called regional trade agreements. So they are not saying that you don't have FTAs, etc. Because yes, the way I said friendshoring and nearshoring, this is bound to happen. There is no option to this. Earlier also it was there, today also it was there. Mexico would like to buy from USA. Mexico would not like to buy from you because you are far away. Your freight element does not allow me to buy goods from you unless until they are something extremely different or extremely qualitative or extremely cheaper. So this one part. The second part that you are talking about it, irrespective of the fact, trade will continue. And I think that's the answer. One need not worry.
Agreed, sir. Thank you for putting it in a great way. And thank you
Third
for
point,
the
which is critically important, which you have not asked, but I'll tell you. Unfortunate part is this, that you attract all the countries. You know why? One single reason, that your population today is 146 crore. You are the largest populated country of the world. Even Ireland wants to have FTA with you. So where is the question of you're not having, other parties forcing you to have it? Because they find this is the biggest market of the world.
Yes.
Correct.
Agreed, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sujita, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've had a very, if to say the least, engaging webinar, I must say, regarding this India-UK FTA on the opportunities and the strategic insights. So as we draw close to today's session, on behalf of Triple FAI, it's my proud privilege to extend a vote of thanks, sir. Deep appreciation to our distinguished speaker, Mr. Kasture, sir. And if I may say the least, this session was insightful, comprehensive, the presentations I mean, and to explain the nuance of this India-UK trade FTA, and that also in a very clear and practical manner, I think we all have benefited. At least I hope all our participants have actually benefited from this webinar. So thank you, and those slides regarding those concepts related to rules of origin, and then your explanation regarding those CTH, RVC. I mean, these are very practical things, and this is how we relate to our work. And in fact, these are directly related to our work. Our work means work as custom brokers. So how the regional value content is calculated, all those. So thank you, sir, for all those very important yet and practical things which you have explained to us. So we really had a session, very good session on this. So I also would like to thank our chairman is not present today. He's traveling, and not traveling for his own business, but he's traveling for our federation work only. So, and we've had our chairman-elect, Mr. Amit Kamath, to give the welcome address, the excellent welcome address in place of our chairman. He had set the tone for today's session, not only by warmly welcoming the participants, but also clearly outlining the significance of this agreement. Our immediate past chairman, Shankar sir, I mean, he's a really busy man, and he has a couple of hats. So thank you for making time to be on the panel, sir. And we also thank our participants from all over the country, and we've had a good number of participants here. So, and not only that, they have actively engaged, they have asked questions, they have reacted to various slides and various comments of yours, sir. So thank you, participants. And of course, we have Sudhir Bhai, we have Nirav, and we have Dr. Sant for actually coordinating with Mr. Kasture and coming up with the idea of having a seminar on this. I mean, we are at par, and we are along with what the trade is doing, and we are keeping up with the new developments that are coming up internationally. So Sudhir Bhai and Nirav, to thank you for coordinating the question hour session as you usually do. Sudhir Bhai is he's in charge of all these training initiatives which FFI has, and I think like in customs clearance has become a small part. The bigger part is the PGA and compliance of the PGAs. So in federation also, IIFF has become a bigger part or an equal part than the FFI activities per se. So thank you, Sudhir Bhai, for guiding us and staying with us all along. Thank you, Secretariat, for doing the work at the back end. And so having said that,
Thank you, sir.
Having said that, I thank each and every stakeholders in the logistics industry who continue to collaborate with us and to build a stronger, more informed logistics community. And we look forward to meeting you in the future for such knowledge sharing sessions. We are having this at very regular intervals, and it's only for the benefit of the trade. So thank you all for being with us. Thank you for joining, and thank you for being so active in this webinar. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kasturji. Thank you, everybody.
And thanks to Sudipda also.
Yes, it's an important role every time which plays.
Great,
you, Sudip.
fantastic.
Okay,
Have a
sure.
unique
Thank you.
course.
Bye.
Bye.